Hi, my name's Flossy. I'm queer and my pronouns are they, them, and this is Mystery the Magic Van, a 1977 Vandura GMC. When I bought this van, it was $2,000. It was full of rust. You could see through the floor in the cab, and it had probably been sitting for a very long time. And I've since rebuilt the engine, so parts of the engine are pink and red now. But yeah, I've ripped everything out, all the old 70s furniture, and I've completely rebuilt it and learned a bunch of things along the way. I have a wood stove. This thing makes my van a sauna in winter. It gets really hot, but on the flip side, I have zero mold, zero moisture, and I've been in it 2 winters now and not had a single problem. So yeah, I have a little stove attachment. I make bread, roast vegetables. I don't actually have a propane stove at all at the moment, or a cooker, so I do all my baking and cooking on here. I used compressed pellets. It's the really dry one, not the sticky one. And you can get a hardwood one, which burns for a longer period of time. I have to stoke it every 4 hours. And if I wake up in the middle of the night, I put another log on. If I go to bed late, then I probably don't. I have a power box at the moment to charge my phone. I can charge it from the 12-volt cigarette lighter. If I'm at work, then I'll take it with me and charge it there. My partner's a herbalist, so I have a lot of medicines here, herbal medicine, mostly made on Salt Spring. I've got all my herbs up here, and then in here I have all my dry goods. So there is jams and pickles, and I regularly grow bean sprouts so that I can have some fresh vegetables even if I don't make it to the supermarket. Garlic in a little box here and some vegetables here. I'm a vegetarian, so lots of vegetables is a really great thing. Over summer I made mead in my van. I've got a carboy down here and it was sitting away bubbling. Yeah, I had one explode actually. I don't believe being in a tiny space should stop you from doing fun kitchen things. Being a kitchen witch. I found these boxes at an antique shop and I just love them despite them being old cigarette boxes. This one here is another one. It's from 1954, which is a Mandarin box from Japan to Vancouver, which I think is pretty neat. And here I have a 12-volt fridge, which when I get my solar system will be plugged in. At the moment it just has blocks of ice in it. Yeah, it's pretty great. Putting the ice in Tupperware containers keeps it from filling up with water when it melts. You can just take the containers out, throw the water out, put the containers back in, and none of your food gets damaged because it's sitting in a puddle of water. So I have 40 litres of drinking water and my booze closet. I have a little toilet under here, so everything has got a little bit of copper or bronze on it. Identify as a witch. These walls are just held up by these beams here. I just had a blowtorch and singed the wood, which I think looks really beautiful. And this here is glued to insulation. So I glued insulation to the fiberglass and then glued this to the insulation. These lights all run off batteries, so they all turn off, but I also have like a whole bunch of remotes here and I can turn them all off and on from bed. I have a Max Air fan I've done the trim here with a Hessian rope, which I think looks really, really nice. And I really like that nitrile fiber look, so I've got it here as well. I have a CO2 detector next to my bed, just so that the internet doesn't worry about me. All sorts of things, my athame, my magic wand, some incense, yeah. We do a lot of public rituals, so I often take this with me when we do group magic. I sleep diagonally most of the time, but if I have a guest over to stay, then I can actually make the bed longer, and I have a little extension that comes on the end of it. That slots into this little hole there. And then I have another piece of plywood, slides out. And then I have basically a just over 6-foot bed lengthways. This bell rings when I go over a bumpy road too much. I know that nothing's gonna fall off if the bell doesn't ring. If I know the bell's ringing, then I'm going too fast and should probably slow down. This is my mirror. The only mirror I have in this vehicle, but it's really nice because I can angle it and has a close-up if I need it. We put a roll bar in here just to keep the van from warping a little bit, and then put this shelf and this wall in. And then the fireplace is actually welded to the wall. This is my wardrobe, and the fireplace keeps it super toasty and warm. I do a lot of tarot reading for people on the road. It's a really cool way to connect with people and earn a little money, and I've made my own tarot deck. My tarot deck is unique because it's a queer tarot deck, and it's a tarot deck that features people as the tarot cards. People get to choose their own tarot card that they want to be in, and then how they want to represent it. And I interview them to be the interpretation for the tarot cards. It's been amazing because if I lived in a house, I wouldn't have had the money to travel all over the world or travel down to the US to photograph people. I live in a van because I'm an artist and I'm a witch. It's really nice to move around a lot. I don't think I would have the money to do as much travel as I do if I had to pay rent all the time. I'm saving up to buy land to build tiny houses on, and it's so much more accessible to do that when you don't have such huge overheads. I can live wherever I want to be. If I'm working from a particular area, I can be 5 minutes away from my home, or I can park right outside the door. I use a lot less plastic than I would have. I still do because sometimes it's unavoidable, but I'm able to use a lot less. One of the biggest challenges is my mom thinks I live on the streets. I don't know really how to be like, yeah, Mom, I'm having the time of my life. It's so great. So she worries about me. I've never felt unsafe. I have a huge community of friends who also live in vehicles, so I'm surrounded and safe all the time. Yeah, you just have to plan things a little bit more. You have to plan when you're going to do your laundry. You have to plan when you're going to fill up your water. When you're going to plan when you empty your bathroom, right? I guess it requires a little bit more being organized. Don't think I've met a van life person who probably hasn't shat in a bag at least once in a dire emergency, but I think there's this over-sterilization of living in a house. I know some showers that I can get access to, so it's easy. I like being clean, and I spent last night in a hot tub at the swimming pool, so it was really great. Got talking to a bunch of people. It encourages you to get out and talk to people. It encourages you to spend more time outside. My parents are very religious, and I was homeschooled when I grew up, and so coming out as queer, I've been separated from them a bit, but also like I grew up not wearing shoes, so I grew up climbing up trees, so living in a van feels very natural to me. In the same sense, it's similar. There's no rules. I don't have to conform to any societal norm of who I should be and how I should live. I'm a queer person. I already break all of society's rules. I do a lot of graphic design. freelance for friends and clients, and I build websites for people, anyone who wants e-commerce websites for little tiny shops. I like running a business myself in a anti-capitalistic sense, when a way that to give back to people. I think this culture of trying to get to the top of the rat race and as much money as possible isn't conducive to community living or helping us all have access to our basic needs. I think if you're wanting to start living in a van, there's so much out there on the internet. Don't be afraid of looking up your questions, but also don't get overwhelmed by the fact that there's a million van life videos telling you how perfect and wonderful it is, and that the more you know, the more overwhelmed you might get. So don't get analysis paralysis. Jump in and learn. I mean, I've done so many things that people have told me that I couldn't do. You're gonna have days when everything just goes wrong and you break down in the middle of a bridge. But that's only one day in the whole rest of your life. I try to live my life with an eternal sense of curiosity. If you're not curious about something, you're gonna miss opportunities. The other thing that I really live my life by is a sense of impermanence. I'm a witch, but I've done a lot of Buddhist practice. Attachment can lead to sadness. If you're attached to something remaining constant, it's not going to. You're gonna get disappointed. There's a sort of freedom that comes from not expecting yourself to have or be or do the exact same thing all the time. Being able to be accountable to yourself and say, where am I expecting things of other people? Where am I expecting things of myself? And how can I let those go? And how can I just be in the moment and be present? One of the things that made the most impact on me was Brene Brown saying, the people who are the happiest have the strongest boundaries. I'm not saying it without a sense of determination or motivation or passion or excitement. You can have all of those things, but it's the attachment to one fixed outcome. You can follow my tarot project, the tarot cards and the travel I do for that, at queertarot.cards. I have Instagram accounts for my tarot cards and my van. So queer_tarot_cards or mystery_the_magic_van.
Hi, I'm Forrest.
I'm Emily.
And this is Ronnie, and we're all part of the different media team. So if you guys enjoyed that alternative dwelling episode you just watched, there's a playlist popping up now where you can continue watching. Or you can go to our second channel where we travel around in this 1989 Toyota motorhome that we restored. We have all sorts of videos detailing the build that we did, what our life is like living on the road. So go ahead and check that out in the description below.